Tom, how are you doing today?
Hi, Arrow. I'm good. I spent some time down in North Carolina, in Fayetteville, Fort Bragg.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. We know Fayetteville very well, and I wish more people would come here just to honor the men and women who serve this great nation.
Yeah, I was in Special Forces, so I went through the JFK Center down there.
Wow. Wow. So you know the heat down here in the South then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Where did this book come from? Because, I mean, you know, inside the tight minds of so many people, authors are given that opportunity to share a story. And I'm always interested in where that seed came from.
The seed? Let's see. I'm glad you asked that. I'm proud of this. The seed for this came from the purest of motivations. During the pandemic in 2020, when we were traumatized by the notion of refrigeration units outside of hospitals because the morgues were overflowing, that I decided I would write some short stories and put them on Facebook for my friends during the pandemic, just to cheer them up or divert them or just distract them. So I posted the first one in March, the end of March 2020, and I started writing these stories, and they started getting an incredible response. So I did that all during the year, and someone said, "You've got enough stories here to publish a book. You better put this out." So I put it together in a book, and it was published in, I think, December 3rd of 2020. And it was picked up within 5 days by a local radio station, sports radio, Angelo Cataldi, WIP. And so it took off. I mean, I can't tell you. I sold books in Japan. I sold books in New Zealand. It went everywhere. After the New York Times got a hold of it, I was contacted by all kinds of producers in Hollywood. We sold it to the movies. We sold this and my book about Vietnam that I was writing when I was in Vet Stadium at that time. And it just, you know, that was the genesis of it. And it wasn't any other motivation, just to, you know, maybe be helpful. And, you know, we were all, what could we do? What could we do? How can we deal with this? And that's how I dealt with the pandemic.
The men and women of Vietnam, let's give them some love and some attention here, because I see them all the time at the grocery store wearing the hat, and I will thank them for serving our nation. And they kind of give me a weird look. How can we embrace the vets of that story and give them the true love that they truly deserve?
I don't know. I when people say thank me for my service, I just take it for what it's worth. I appreciate it. I just thank them. And, you know, some vets have a little bit of a problem with it because they may have had a hard experience when they came home. When I came home, I was so busy. Within 8 days of coming home from Vietnam, I was a full-time student at college. And I took a job from 3 to 11 at night in a bank computer center in town. So with the commute on the train and everything, I had very little time to think or process anything. I was so busy. And then after I got out of college, I decided I want to write about Vietnam. And I got in contact with the mothers of 7 friends of mine who had been killed. And I would send them, I would send them postcards or make phone calls occasionally, you know, no set pattern. And it meant a lot to me, and it meant a lot to them. There's a chapter in the book, The Secret Apartment, about them that mentions, it's called A Vet Loose in the Vet. And near the end of it, I talk about these mothers and how I knew from them that they wanted me to write a story that told just the story of a kid that felt that we were justifiably at war in Vietnam, because that's what the government told us, and who volunteered and went over there and then faced all the disillusion that young people going into war do, you know, when they confront the reality of it. That's what goes down.
Wow.
And that was the genesis of it. And when I was in the stadium, one of the things that I didn't foresee was that it was very cathartic. It was like a monastery or cloister where one day on a Sunday, I might be in the stadium with 66,000 rabid Eagles fans in foul weather. And then a couple of nights later, I might be roller skating around the upper levels of the stadium or sitting at the very top in the moonlight, drinking a beer and just alone with my thoughts.
Wow.
And so I was able to go inside myself to where my meanings are and kind of to grow and to heal and to write.
Wow.
And it had a purpose. I mean, I wasn't crazy. I had a purpose in what I was doing. But to live in the stadium was magnificent because 60 to 80 feet from my front door, I had all the Philadelphia Eagles and the Philadelphia Phillies and the Temple University football team play all their home games.
Wow.
And I could smuggle all my friends in. I could smuggle as many people I wanted to. And I could roller skate around the building at night or ride my bike, just hang out. It was great. It really helped me a lot. It helped me. It was magnificent.
It's almost like the Phantom of the Opera. Did you feel like that?
Yeah, it was like a South Philly off the wall Phantom of the Opera thing, but I wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
With you being there in that moment, like you said, you were alone, and it was very medicinal for you. Did you know at that time that, were there ghosts in there? Because even when I visit the Charlotte Knights Stadium here, I've been in there with nobody in there, and I feel like there's ghosts watching me.
No, they're not ghosts, but I don't know what we were up to, but we walked in, we went in by the Eagles entrance, and then we walked out through, and we could standing at the railing looking at the stadium, and we stood there for about 3 or 4 minutes without saying anything. We're just looking around, and I said to Billy, I turned to him, I said, Billy, can you hear them? And he said, yeah, I'll always hear them. And he was talking about the fans. There's like, they're not ghosts, but there's like a spirit, or there's an energy of, you can't be there and experience that stadium when it's full of people, and then be there a couple of days later when it's completely empty and not sense something. It's like a church with no roof, because the prayers that go up when it's 4th and long or the top of the 9th, it's so obsessive and fervent that it would blow the roof off if it had a roof on it almost.
Wow.
Because there's this outrageous human feeling from 60 or 70,000 people all at once having the same feeling.
Wow. Speaking of prayer, how were you able to stay there with the Pope? Did they not go into every little nook and cranny searching for anything?
No. Well, the Pope wasn't there. The Pope didn't come into that building. Okay. The Pope was, the Mass was up on Logan Circle in Center City, out by the Art Museum on the Parkway.
Okay.
But even to address that, in 1979, there were no cameras anywhere. There were 2 security guards that didn't come out very often, with a German Shepherd down on the ground level where the apartment was, and they just stayed in there, watched TV and all, and just kind of walked around once in a while. But there were no cameras anywhere. Since 9/11, you could never penetrate a building like that. Mm-hmm. You could never get inside that building. Like even right now, if you went down to those, you'd never get in. And if you did, they'd be on you in within minutes.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating because so many people are afraid of going up into their attics, and yet you were there. This was all yours. You were like the king of your own kingdom.
Yeah, I would roller skate around that building at night without a care in the world. The ramps. To be up on I could go up to the 600-700 level and roller skate all around the top of the building.
I love it. Where can people go to find out more about you, Tom? Because you've got an entire lifetime of journeys here.
Yeah, there's 2 books. They're both on Amazon. You can go on Amazon Books and look up Tom Garvey, and you'll see my books and reviews and all that kind of stuff. And I'm working on another one now called The Long Ago Girl, about a woman that I met the week I came home from Vietnam that was part of the anti-war movement. Yeah. I didn't meet her, actually. I just saw her on the street corner, but she fascinated me. And then she disappeared. One day she was gone, and I was haunted by her for many years. And that's a good story also. So I'm working on that now, but it's on Amazon. You can see both of the books. And I sold both of my books because of the publicity that the Secret Department has gotten since it came out in 2020. I sold both of my books to a Hollywood production company. Nice. I have to be careful about talking about that too much. I can't say who they are because it's restricted in the contract. They do the rollout, but they might do a documentary or a film about this.
I cannot wait. To talk to you again. Please come back to this show anytime in the future.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your kindness. I really appreciate it.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Take care, Arrow. It's really good to talk to you. Be well.